Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Shilpa Data Insights. In this video, we are going to discuss about the most frequently asked questions in Databricks Associate Engineer Examination. This is in continuation of Databricks certification playlist. In the previous video, I explained about the exam overview and its syllabus. If you have not watched that video, then you can watch that first and come back to this particular video. I have pinned the previous video in the I bar. So let's get started. Question 38. A data engineer has set up two jobs that each run nightly. The first job starts at 12 a.m. and it completes in about 20 minutes. The second job depends on the first job and it starts at 12:30. Sometimes the second job fails when the first job does not complete by 12:30 a.m. Which of the following approaches can the data engineer use to avoid this problem? Let's, for example, this is my first job and this is my second job, right? This runs at 12 o'clock and this runs at 12:30. Let's say instead of 20 minutes, this ran, for example, 40 minutes, right? So if this ran for 40 minutes, this particular job doesn't get complete, it fails, right? So in this case, how you can make a dependency in both the cases? So here, if you will see, it says they can limit the size. This you can also do in the output in the second job, but this will not help you in resolving the problem. Let's see what is the last option. They can set up the data to stream from the first job to the second job. No, if you are making the data, it doesn't mean that the job scheduled at 12:30 will stop. It will still run at 12:30 even if the data is dependent. Okay. Then they can utilize cluster pools. Cluster pools are not required in this case because cluster pools have set of clusters only, right? And in this set of clusters, you are having your VM. So this will not help you in resolving the job failure of the second job. See, they can retry policy on the first job to help it run more quickly. Even if you do a retry, after 40 minutes only, it will do a retry of R2. It will not do a retry before actually completing the job or if the job fails, right? So this is not going to help. Let's see what is the last option that we are having. They can utilize multiple tasks in a single job with linear dependency. This is actually correct. How? So let's say this is our complete job. In this job, you have this task 1, you have this task 2. This task 1, this task 2, if it is dependent on task 1, then only this problem will get solved. So even if it starts at 12 o'clock, once this completes, then only this particular task will start. If let's say it completes at 12:40, it will start at 12:40. If it completes at 12:30, it will start at 12:30. And for example, it completes at 12:20, this will start at 12:20 itself, right? So this is our feasible answer. Let's move on to the next question, number 39. A data engineer has a set of notebook to automatically process using a job. The data engineer manager wants to version control the schedule due to its complexity. Which of the following approaches can data engineer use to obtain a version control configuration of the job schedule? You have a set of notebook to automatically process using job, and the job is actually complex. So they want to do a version control. The version control is not available inside the job. Okay. So what you need to do is inside the job where you create or edit your job, there is an option to clone the job and there is an option to basically get the JSON description of the job. Either you can edit, clone, JSON, get the JSON, or you can delete the job, right? So basically, if you want to go ahead and do a version control, you have to get this JSON, download your JSON in your local system from the jobs page and get your JSON in your Git configuration. This is how you can do it. And when the next time you want to go ahead and create this particular JSON itself, using either Databricks CLI or using the UI itself, you can create the same job with the help of the JSON that you got in the description. Okay. So this particular first option is not correct. They can link the job to the notebook that are part of Databricks repo. They can summarize job, no, or once on a cluster, no. They can download the JSON and they can submit the job once on all-purpose cluster. No, they can download the XML description, which is not there. It has only the JSON description. So the correct answer for question 39 is C. Question 40. A data analyst has noticed that their Databricks SQL queries are running too slow. They claim that this issue is affecting all of their sequential run queries. They ask the data engineering team for help. The data engineering team notices that each of the queries uses the same SQL endpoint, but the SQL endpoint is not used by any other user. Which of the following approaches can data engineer team use to improve the latency of data analyst queries? If you have worked in the Databricks SQL serverless, then you would be knowing what all features are there in the serverless. If you have not used it, just go ahead and try to use it and you will come to know what all features are there in the serverless SQL endpoint. So basically in this question, it is actually checking what kind of knowledge you have for the serverless feature. So basically Databricks SQL queries are running too slow, right? So they want to make it fast and they have the same endpoint. So they have already the serverless feature turned on SQL endpoint. So let's not dig into this. They can increase the maximum bound. Even if you increase the maximum bound, it is not going to help. But there are different types of cluster size available. They are extra small, there are small, they are medium, they are large, they are extra large. There are some sizes, there are some DBUs that are provided for each configuration, right? And there are some virtual machines attached to it according to it. With the Spark configuration settings, let's say the Spark 3 point version and the Scala version, right? All these are there. So if you increase the cluster size, then definitely whatever SQL queries are running, it will run much more faster. Even if you do an auto stop feature, it's not going to help you. They can turn on the serverless feature with reliability optimized. This is also not going to help you. So question number 40 answered is C. Question 41. An engineering manager uses Databricks SQL query to monitor their team's progress on fixes related to customer reported bugs. The manager checks the result of the query every day, but they are manually rerunning the query each day and waiting for the result. Which of the following approaches can manager use to ensure the results of the query are updated each day? So what the basically engineering manager is doing is he's rerunning the manual query each day, right? And then waiting for the result and updating the report. So that is actually not required. They want it to be updated each day, but why exactly to do it manually? Databricks provides good feature exactly to go ahead and schedule those things and it will rerun by its own, right? So which feature you can use in order to do it? So now, if you will see in the option A, it says the jobs UI, right? Don't get confused with the Databricks SQL and jobs UI. They are two different things. Here you will get a hint in the question itself. It says it uses the Databricks SQL query, right? So in the jobs UI also you can do a scheduling, okay? But that scheduling is the scheduling of the jobs, not the Databricks SQL query. So in order to refresh the query, you have to refresh the query from the Databricks SQL and not from the jobs. And here also it says the jobs UI, which is not correct. Then you have this particular thing from SQL endpoint page. SQL endpoint page will not allow you to refresh. It will be done with the help of the Databricks SQL. Then in this also you have the SQL endpoint page itself, right? Every 12 hours, every 1 hour. So every 12 hours is like in a day, half of the day only, right? 24 hours is actually your 1 day. So this is also not correct. So the correct answer is option B. Question 44. A new data engineer has started at a company. The data engineer has recently been added to the company's Databricks workspace as new engineer at company.com. The data engineer needs to be able to query the table sales in the database retail. The new data engineer already has been granted usage on the database retail. Which of the following can be used to grant appropriate permission to new data engineer? Here it's actually doing some capabilities of Unity Catalog where you can do some data governance, right? You don't have to give access to each and every individual in your company in order to go ahead and access the data. So you have to go ahead and get some permissions to access some database and the table. So here the company that is there is new engineer at company.com in the database retail, and there is a table called sales, and it's asking to give a usage permission. So basically, the usage permission is needed for anyone who wants to do anything in that particular table. Let's say you want to do a select, you want to create, you want to go ahead and modify, usage permission is needed. So for that, you need a usage permission basically. And it says grant usage on table name to this particular individual, which is correct. You don't need a create, you don't need a select, you don't need this because this is not the table name. This is your basically your user's name, right? This is also not correct. So the option A is correct for question 44. The next question says a new data engineer this has been assigned this project. The new data engineer will need full privilege on all the tables, sales to fully manage the project. Which of the following commands can be used to grant full permission on the table to new data engineer? So this is also the similar type of a question as question 44 that we just saw. So what you need to do is you need to know how the data governance and Unity catalog basically works. So for that, you can either do a grant or revoke permissions are there. So in this, you have grant and it says to grant full privileges. So basically you are granting all the privileges on the table sales to this particular user, which is correct. You don't need the usage, you don't need this is not correct on table this. That is the email address is written, right? So grant on table, the table name to which particular individual. This is not correct, option D, and option E is also not correct. Option B is also not correct. So the option A is correct. These type of questions are actually asked in Databricks certified exam. So these type of questions are asked in Data Engineer Associate examination. Please go through all the questions that I have given it in the playlist because this will definitely help you in clearing your examination with a good passing percentage. And I hope you like the video series that I have created. Then hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching and I wish you have a good day.